Hello, everyone. Let's just get into this. This is Mel. We know who it is. And I want to start
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me back.
this conversation with something very, very, very important, which is a few things. First is this. This morning, this African proverb came back to my mind. And this proverb goes like this: if there is no enemy within, no enemy outside can do any harm. And I was thinking about it for a moment because what was happening lately can be taken in many different ways, but I actually look at this from a different standpoint, Mel. That in a way, if we are not having unresolved issues within us, no form of criticism or attack or any kind of that will literally touch us, because we know ourselves and we know who we are. So only if we are having some unresolved issues, some unresolved traumas, emotional things, that is this weaker, softer spot that can be affected. And I look at this and I said, you know what? Few aspects there, because we are in a way, like, I'm not saying it's pleasant, but in a way it's like helping us to heal it and to go to the next stage already stronger on the higher frequency. And I realized that this lifetime, because we had many, perhaps, maybe for sure, we are not going to give up and keep going. So I applaud you. I applaud you for being there. And I say this now. Before we recorded, I was saying, I think you are working so hard, almost too hard at this point, that sometimes I'm watching you and I'm saying to myself, it's not my life, it's your life, your decision, but perhaps you could nurture yourself more, Mel. Nurture yourself, because I know your research is fulfilling and you find a lot of support from many people, including myself. I am here for you. But I just want you to know that I care and my viewers care who you are, what you represent, and there is a courage and there is a bravery and there is integrity with your work and your message. And this is very important, but please don't burn yourself along the way, please.
Right. Yeah. No, that's very intuitive. I actually did a show the other day and then we watched it and I thought, that's not me. Something's wrong. That's not me. And, I've been trying to, I get a lot of emails and I've been really trying to respond to people that I feel like need a response right away.
Yeah.
And I've come across a few people that their stories are, mainly people, the worst stories are the ones that know about the SRA and all of that, and you want to be there. But I didn't really believe, honestly, as I do now, that we were really dealing with literal demonic possession and demons and different, spiritual levels. Mark Atwood has really helped me realize that this is real, that it's not, if you're dealing in that realm, then there's people out there, both human and living and spiritually, that don't want what we're saying to be said. And it's only really just occurred to me over the last few weeks that I am upsetting people that are evil, that really are people that do not want their to be exposed and want to continue with the status quo, and really are fighting. I feel like the whole thing that we're watching is good versus evil to my core. And, we are seeing the two factions also, because the communism, socialism, no matter what they did to dumb down our kids, you're from Poland.
Yeah.
Communism and socialism has only led to hundreds of millions of innocent people dying. And it's demonic and ungodly at its core. And, I've been going out there, but the more you delve into it, and you realize that it's way deeper and way older than you think. A lot of people have been saying the same thing to me. And, there's a particular person who I once worked with who's going out of their way to contact people, like writing emails about me, or trying to take down my stuff, or I know that they're like a troll that are always like attacking me in the comments. I had to shut off all my comments, because I know this one person is like out to get me. And in this day and age, we can't do anything. All the people that are making fake channels with my face and my info, and it's like there's nothing I can do. But it has been disheartening, to say the least, because there's nothing you can do, especially for any of us. If we contact, Twitter or YouTube, we're only putting a target on ourselves, and we know that. So you kind of have to stay away. I have been trying to slow down, but honestly, I don't feel like I'm the one driving the ship. I really don't. I say every day.
Mm-hmm.
I say every day, I don't want one day this week, I had to just do, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't. And that's okay. But, I feel every day, if I don't keep going, who's going to tell anyone, who's telling anyone that.
But Mel, I tell you, I feel that you said that this is really, for me, especially, I've noticed, and you agree, that besides, how to say this? Like they measure the frequency, like the Schumann resonance, okay? So we know that the frequency matters. Now, this frequency that we are in a way, not only that we create, because we project our energy out, but that frequency is still being manipulated by the dark forces. And certain signals are sent out to lower our vibration, okay? And that creates more, like those people who are vicious, they become more vicious. Those who are doing like things like you, they become exhausted. So there's a combination of things. And yes, this is being manipulated. There are certain, how to say this, like machines or devices that are created, and they are actually underground, and they are sent, or from the space as well. So it's like being bombarded by this, right? So I said to myself, like, what can I do in this area to balance my energy? Because those topics are, especially you are like only in it really, because I have like different guests. So I'm more balanced, you know what I mean? But you are in this deep dives. So I said, what can I do? So for me, I sleep. I have to sleep. If I don't sleep, forget it. Okay. I don't know, you froze, if you can hear me. I hope you can hear me, Mel. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Great.
But it froze. It's there.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah, I hear you.
Something froze.
I do.
What
crazy, right?
What the heck froze? Okay. But then I really felt, for me, this morning, I was listening to 432 hertz music, which is one of the most healing frequencies. It's like angelic music. And just the sound of this, there was a voice, like angelic voice. I felt like literally like my cells of the body get back into order. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it's this connection to heart and to God. Like you feel you connected to God. And then this field of energy, I was like, doesn't matter how many masks I see around me, I'm fine.
Right. And you know, that's it's so interesting because I found that too. And I do listen to that sometimes. But over the past week, I even realized that I wasn't doing my normal praying that I do every day.
Yeah.
And I realized that I wasn't listening to music or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought about it last night and I thought, what am I doing? You know, I'm forgetting, you know, what matters the most. For the last 3 years, I spent every morning, you know, really cut out 45 minutes of my morning and kind of said a bunch of different prayers that from different realms, and really have listened a lot to energy and frequency and all of that. And the last week, which you can tell, it was like I wasn't even remembering to do that, and it was so habit for so long. And you know, that's the one thing that we really can do. And another, you know, it's like all these little things people don't realize until you start the practice of it. Like I used to meditate every night before bed for an hour, and with you know, good music, and it really helps. And once you stop doing these things were habit, and only in the last week and a half would I get to the end of the day and be like, how did I not do that this morning? It was like a huge part of my life, and suddenly I'm at, you know, midday, and I'm thinking, I didn't even do that. I didn't even say like my peace with God that is just natural every morning. And that's really been happening. And you're right. I mean, you do have to take a pause. I guess also I think that I'm feeling a lot of people say, well, what's going on, or you didn't, or you're wrong about this or that or whatever. And it's like, I don't want the burden of somebody else's stuff. You know, it's like we're doing the best we can. And I think I felt like I don't have answers. I only have what I know to be true, and what I believe, and what I think should be happening, but none of us know. And I've been talking a lot about the psychological toll, and it's not just us, you know, I mean, like you said about the frequency, but when I walk around, the weird thing about New York City or any inner city is, you know, you don't really, you walk outside and you're dealing with the public. And I'm seeing so much anxiety and fear and confusion and everywhere you turn. And that's why I really need to get to go down and see my parents, because it's very palpable outside in the street, especially in New York City, especially because finally it's being revealed what many people in New York City knew, which is that we were set up, that this was not an organic shutdown. It was not what it seemed. And we knew we were being lied to here, and lied to by the media, but there's still so many people asleep here. For a city that has so many people that went to Ivy League schools and are, you know, titans of business, there's that many people that still believe the New York Times and wear 2 masks and a shield. So, you know, that's the other part is I have noticed.
2 masks and a shield.
Yes, a lot of people. And then you'll ask them where they went to college, and they probably went to Harvard or Yale. And you think, the easiest ones to fool are the smartest elite, I guess. And because that is part of the indoctrination of it. And so I have to admit, you are absolutely right. And I have to get back into listening to the frequencies, because it does help. And I remember when I would tell my mom last year, I was like, no, I'm telling you, something happens. You listen to it, your whole body feels like totally energized. I would do this like Archangel Gabriel thing. And at the beginning, I was like, this isn't real. And it is.
It is real. Mel, it's so real. It's so, and
I know. I'm so glad you reminded me.
No, and you know, I had
been missing
this guest I had. You have to listen, Elena Danan. She reminded this, because there is like a ceremony, like you pray for protection of 4 angels: Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and I forget one more, and Raphael. I think those 4, and they're like
we used to do it. I used to do it every night. This whole thing. It was like an hour and a half, and it was so great. And I can't find it now. But it really did change my whole external. And at the time that I need it most, of course, I haven't been doing it. And that's
exactly.
So I'm grateful that you.
Yes, last week. This was the week. This was so intense. Was so intense.
I know.
And I had her. You can look it up if you have time. Like she was describing like.
Oh, I will.
Direction. I love this. So Another thing I was thinking there is this hunger because of the uncertainty now in people. There is this longing, like desperate longing and hunger for the right information, like they're in your face and it's good, it's this, it's this. But here is the question, because people forgot that it's almost like you don't want to do too much research and be informed with every single thing, because the first thing, it will drain you, absolutely will drain you. Second thing, will overwhelm you, confuse you. And the third thing is, it might not even turn around as you expect it to be from this research.
Right.
So this is the time to really connect with your higher self, with your soul, and with God. And when you are in this place, then first of all, the right message will come to you. You will be able to receive it. Because otherwise you will not receive it. If you're in a state of consciousness, like you are like, what is it? What's happening? What's this? What's this? And then that's why people get angry on you, because they are not at peace with themselves.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and yeah, it's interesting because last week I told everyone that not this past week was really, really bad for me, but the week before I told everyone that I was on the shows with, keep positive, pray, keep your energy high, and guess who didn't do it? Me.
Yeah.
And that is the truth. And and the other thing is, people say, ignore it. I mean, honestly, I get 1,000 emails a day, probably 5, not even the emails aren't even, it was just, some nasty comments on BitChute or whatever. And, but it wouldn't be getting to me if I was doing my work, and I'm not.
Yep.
Because normally it wouldn't even get to me. But just this past week, and I'm telling you, there's a lot to do with this energy that's going on, that's mass confusion on a mass scale. Because I notice even people that voted for Joe Biden are very confused and very, but won't admit it. So it's like, you can't really talk to anyone right now about any of it because everyone's so fired up. Whichever side they're on, they're either holding on tight to defend their decision to vote against Trump rather than for America.
It's ego.
Or they're so scared that we're about to become a communist country and go to war with 4 countries as they're threatening, that they're the opposite. Like, when are they going to do something? What are they going to do? And it's like, and then
Mel, no one really knows, first of all, what's going on. Only those who are truly deeply inside of it, the alliance, okay? Because I think there is truly at this point when I'm watching this movie, I think there is an agreement, because good and bad, to some extent, there is an agreement to play this movie. Because I was also thinking about who is rolling out the movie, because something was not making sense.
Right.
And now I'm like, okay, so
I agree with that.
There is an agreement between 2 forces here, but now, right? Yeah, okay. So, but here is the thing, that no one really knows everything, and people cannot, because that's why they feel stupid. They just literally feel stupid because they don't know what's the true or what is presented, or they believe it's true.
That's going on too.
But can we just truly accept the fact that we have been manipulated for so many years, and somehow not many people were questioning. Not many people were questioning that. Everyone was like buying the magazines, looking at the cover. Oh my gosh, this is the role model. This is that. And everyone was just buying this. And now all of a sudden, right? It's like no one was questioning then.
No. And now there's millions of people questioning at one time. And it is, I'm sure, very, it's backing the people that are guilty, that have guilty consciences, that have been playing the game against us. It's backing them into a corner, and they're exposing themselves daily, which I see. But I also see when you're possessed by this this fear of being exposed, you become the most dangerous. And that's what I'm watching. When I watch this insanity with this impeachment, all I'm seeing is there being a total, complete disconnect between people. They're not really, oh, I just got good news that the impeachment, he was acquitted. 57-43, the impeachment. So that show's over. Now we can welcome back. Hello, President Trump. We're ready for you.
Well,
back.
But Mel, okay, so
I know.
So here is the thing.
Well, I'm glad that chaos is over.
Why? But I don't watch it. You know why? Because I feel like it's just waste of my energy at this point.
It is.
Because it's a Muppet show again. Like I say Muppet show all the time. And no, it is Muppet show. It is Muppet show. But what I want to ask you, because you know this, they have gathered over 1.5 million signature to recall Newsom. Okay. Can you tell me what you know about this recalling process? How does it look like by the steps, how does it look like? What they do?
What I know about it is that, so they got the 1.5 million physical signatures. Don't forget, this isn't online. So that's a pretty big, huge accomplishment. And basically now they have to go into a second, in the summer, I believe that they have to do it by May, that they have to, there's going to be a new election. And if now that they got the signatures, they have enough to trigger a new election. So that's what's going to happen. And basically, I don't know who's going to be running against him, but I've heard of.
Do they remove him from the position, or they have to wait until the new election?
Well, I think what I believe happens is that he gets not removed, but that there is it's kind of like the runoff where, I mean, this is I'm not that versed in it, but what I understand is that he goes into a state where it's the legislature that's really running the state. And he is put in a kind of a holding pattern. And just like we've been talking about with the quantum system, if that happens, that he goes into like a holding pattern and has to defend basically his position. So I believe that they're better, that what needs to happen is that good people in California need to find candidates to run against him. I don't believe they just remove him. I think that he's put in a position where the legislature is taking over basically, and then he has to defend his seat, which he's not going to do. And then of course, just like Florida is being threatened by the White House, the Joe Biden house.
By Culver City.
I know, exactly. California, the White House comes out and says that they don't agree with California doing this. They shouldn't be opining on what the citizens of a state have to say. They don't care at all about the citizens of California. This is what the citizens want. And I believe that he will be replaced. And God willing, they'll replace him with somebody who can actually be honest and not be in the swamp, because the California swamp runs very deep. Newsom is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Yeah. And they all have those wineries, and they all have relationships with the drug cartels and the Chinese. And, I believe that he'll be gone, but the White House shouldn't be opining on a state. We are a republic. They always use the word democracy. No, we're a republic. Each state has their own government, and that government does have power, and to intervene is unbelievable. But then also, I don't know if you heard about Florida, but Florida is wide open. My parents live in Florida, a lot of my friends. It's wide open. They're going to have school. Everything's open. The rates are very low. They do, whatever. It seems to be bouncing back pretty quick. And now they're threatening to shut Florida and not let travel in or out. The Biden team threatened Ron DeSantis and said if he doesn't go back to COVID restrictions, they're going to ban travel to and from Florida, a state in the republic that has its own government and has its own. The federal government is only supposed to be protecting our security, our safety, and our basically overseeing administrative stuff like infrastructure, not what they're doing. And it's just, so we're seeing one at a time. And now Texas wants to secede and invites anyone who wants to go with them to go. And this is it's just a total.
But no, it is a show. It truly is a show. It's like truly pushing to the last, like there is no more common sense, but still people are buying this. And this is what amazes me, because I mean, what level of idiotic decisions has to be presented to people in order to finally stop and say, no, like really no. But people are still like, okay. But this, I mean, truly, this is years and years of indoctrination, generations of indoctrination. Like you've spoken about California. Mel, I was wondering, when did this started here? Because this is like Gettys, all those families. But then, like Reagan, for example, I think the best time for California was when Reagan was the president. And after Reagan,
Right. Well, also, yeah, absolutely. But a long time ago, apparently California was, especially in Malibu and other places, there was a whole different civilization that was wiped out, that it was a very sacred land. And you can still see the rock formations and stuff. It's actually a very sacred land, and had been multiple times destroyed. And no, these people go back. They go back. And don't forget, Ronald Reagan, after he was assassinated and survived, they say that he never, ever came back. Like he was just kind of, that's when George H.W. Bush hijacked the country for his one world order goals that we are now having to fight, because all these years we were lulled into not paying attention to what was going on. And their march to the one world government, which really, once they got HW in, they felt like, okay, here we go. And everyone since then, until Trump, has been in on it. So, again, Reagan, he was elected by the people, just like all the great presidents have been. But after him, not so much. But no, Jerry Brown, they're all related, and they're all also in the cult to some extent.
Yes, exactly.
And there's a lot going on in that Napa Valley and that area that is not known to most people. And then you think of Bohemian Grove and all of what's up there, and the upside down Rothschild winery and all that stuff in Northern California. And then, basically they ceded San Francisco to the Chinese decades ago. So, it's not a surprise. It's just really sad, because California is so beautiful. And I never, it was only hard to leave because I loved the beauty. And I used to, when I needed a break, I used to like take the drive by myself down to Malibu. And, when you go down onto PCH and you start driving and you pass the Malibu sign, all of a sudden you just feel like, oh, thank God. And there's just so much beauty, and I love the hills and everything.
It's spectacular nature.
But it's so beautiful, but it's been infested. And there's some very also nefarious, military stuff up there too, that really, I think has been dealt with. But yeah, it's a shame, but I pray for California because it's so beautiful. And, people that grew up there love it, but many of them had to leave because the lifestyle. I mean, my sister, by the very end, she's a psychiatrist, and she was an excellent psychiatrist. She really helped. A few psychiatrists have the ability to help teenagers with anorexia and bulimia, and she became like somebody who was known for that and really did such great work. And but had a good practice. But California, it just started to rot from the inside out, and nobody seemed to care. By the end, she lived in Brentwood, right near the VA, and I mean, it was all tents and homeless people outside the VA. Wow. Our veterans, they were forsaking our veterans. The encampment that is Skid Row is such a travesty, and they have all these empty buildings. And they're still trying to build their $900 million train. That's never going to happen, because all the people in Beverly Hills and Santa Monica and other places are like, you're not building a train under where we live, but they keep hoarding money for it. They wasted billions of dollars, apparently, giving unemployment to people that are in prison and jail. And yet there's the homeless problem is so sad. Basically, Santa Monica, when I was still there 10 years ago, just decided to just let everyone live on the street and forget it. That's their problem. And it's just been terribly mismanaged by people that are greedy and are in bed with the cartels, the gangs. They work together against people. And but one good thing is apparently they are onto the underground world there and digging that up and figuring out what's going on, because without getting rid of that rot, it'll never heal. And so, I pray for California. I say let him go after Florida. The people of Florida will be like, see ya. I heard he was like, yeah, screw you. Hung up on him. That's what we need. We just need leaders who put the people first and stop electing these leaders that are basically, what's the difference between Nancy Pelosi and then having her nephew there? I mean, what's the difference between that and like the royals and the monarchs?
No, it's not
where
really.
they hate
It's self-acclaimed.
the next person.
Yeah, self-acclaimed.
That's not supposed to be. We need term limits. We all need to wake up and see like the things that clearly are stacking it against us, because when they have so much wealth and so much power, and they feel entitled. And, once their kid, is old enough, then they're going to give the scepter to them. And then you see all that. And it's just, it's got to end. I feel like California will turn the corner.
It will.
God willing, he not only gets removed but hopefully a lot of the crimes that he's committed, along with Pelosi and Feinstein and all of them, because they've really sold us out in California, or you guys, to China way more than you think. And, even right in the beginning of the COVID, he bought $1 billion worth of masks from the CCP.
Yes.
But then they found like weapons and stuff coming in. I mean, it's just, it's really sad. I look for.
But Mel, the flag, California flag, the state flag.
Yeah. With the bear?
With the bear, and then with this is there like a Chinese
star? Yes.
The gold star.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but what you said, actually, I want to touch upon this because this is very important. The homeless problem. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And especially and I lived in Santa Monica too, so I know what you're talking about. Even I was working on Rodeo Drive, and on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, there were like those frequent homeless people, like you knew them, like they had their spots, they were always there. But in Santa Barbara, as I moved here about 2 years ago, a little bit over than 2 years ago, and it was already damaged to some point. At this point, I didn't go on the main street for several months, I have to tell you, because I was just like trying to go in the nature and not to see the level of distraction. But my car was in the mechanic store, and I had 1 hour to kind of like spend somewhere. So I went on the main street, Mel. Of course, no mask. I'm walking the street and I see those businesses closed, those people like building outside the restaurants. And I see this, I felt like with my being, this sadness and this, like you say, this uncertainty. And it's a mix of like those very low frequency emotions, zero joy, zero aliveness in it. And on the top of it, you know what? And I'm like, but this will change. I just see this. I see this town like it will be like amazing. It will be like it used to be called like French Riviera, like American Riviera.
I know.
And it will be like
right. I know. It will. I firmly believe that. Also, don't forget, these same people, this group that plays God with our lives and thinks that they're entitled to it. They're sitting on enough money that every single homeless person could not only have a home, but also have the treatment, have this training, all of it. They're hoarding money. There is plenty of money. Yeah. They showed us to our faces. There's $700 billion. Now it's going to be like so much more than that under this regime overseas. And we have a huge homeless problem in California, in New York, in every city. Yes. And then on top of that, all that money, for Black Lives Matter didn't go to the Black community. It should have.
Yeah, I remember.
If Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, before the election, it was straight going to the Democratic Party. Like
Joe Biden.
The link was there. Yeah, I remember. I was like, what?
Right. Yeah, it went to Act Blue, and then they distributed the money. Where everyone, I think, that was giving money and felt like all good about it didn't even notice. There was a time when Joe Biden's campaign had no money, and there was no chance he was going to win. I mean, it really should have been Bernie Sanders again. And Bernie Sanders, for some reason, twice in a row, let them steal it. And I say, let them steal it, So, but the good thing is, I believe that you are absolutely correct. And somehow, every time I talk to you, no matter how crappy I feel before, I feel 1,000 times better.
No, I love you because
it's the greatest thing ever. I hope other people are getting that.
No, I love you like from a distance, and I care.
I know, me too.
And I care for you.
But I hope other people feel it. Me too, because I needed you to say that, and I appreciate it, and you said it for real and out loud, and
I mean,
it's really I don't feel like it's me. I feel like it's a mission. But you're right. The one thing that you brought up, and I have to be honest, is I haven't been meditating. I haven't been doing my habit of praying for 45 minutes every morning, and I haven't been listening to my hertz to keep my energy up at the time when I needed it the most. How interesting. Last week, I was telling everyone to do it, and then I'm the one who didn't. And thank you so much for calling me out, because, you only have so many people in your life that can actually say it and you hear it. And you're one of them. Thank God.
Thank you.
I mean, this is the best part about this journey is like we've developed such a tight bond. And, not every. It's hard as you get older, especially to make friends that really, that it's not superficial. And you and I became very, and not superficial at all, pretty quick, but in a way that like, we all need it. There's so many people out there so alone and that are isolated.
But I have to say something also.
And I don't feel that way with you.
Yeah, but I have to say it will go out there, and I want this to go out there. And I will say this now. Even if I will not have any more interviews with Mel in the future, I will still care for her and love her. And people, but here's the thing. What is the intention of bringing certain people on certain YouTube channels? Is it because you want to boost your ratings and boost your viewers? Well, so here is the thing that she is so, I tell you guys, because you don't know, she is so willing to talk to everyone who is asking. Like I see this, I see the shows she shows up because she really works her ass off. And this is the point. She can almost like hurt herself energetically wise because she is so giving. This is what it is. She's so giving. And some people might abuse this sometimes. And I see this because I really pay attention. And my point is, you have to really connect everyone to your heart and to yourself and to your core and to God. And then you know what you see for what it is. Without listening to other people telling you what is what, you will know yourself what it is. So I just want to say it. And I tell you, Mel, that's why I appreciate you so much, because you work your ass off and not everyone deserves your time.
No, I know. I think I know what you're talking about too. Yeah, I agree. And I got to a point where I felt like I was doing people a favor, but at this point you're right. And, it's a real gift to, I really do only want to work with people that I spiritually align with and intellectually align with. Yeah. And I know that I have a hard time saying no. I think a lot of people suffer from that. And it's my worst quality is I have a very hard time saying no. And you don't want to let anyone down or hurt anyone's feelings or, and then there's the person that you say no and they retaliate or whatever. And it's like, it's not, you're right. It's much better to stay in the positive realm and all.
It's a field of energy, and this is like there is no separation. So if I am thinking about you and I'm sending you like support, you might not even, you don't know it, but that energy goes there and you can receive it in the right moment. But tell me this, I want to ask you this. what is this situation with leaving New York and flying, like, let's say you want to go to Florida. What is this mumbo jumbo they created there? Tell me, like, what is this? They checking.
So this is what it is. What Cuomo has done here is, if you want to fly to New York, see, we know that the PCR tests can be false, right? If you want to fly from New York, you're supposed to get a PCR test. But then the problem is that Cuomo, unlike the rest of the country, decided that he's going to control everything. So even if, you get it, you have it, or you don't have it, you're already now on Cuomo's list. And I don't want to be on this governor's list.
Yeah.
And you have to take a test when you come back in. And if you're positive, and I don't trust the tests, I think they're totally bogus.
Yeah.
And if you're positive, you have to quarantine, and they're cracking down on people here. So it's like, I don't want to be on Governor Cuomo's special New York list at all. And I don't trust this man. I never did. And I don't want, people knocking on my door, sending me text messages,
like
being like,
SS in
that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
no, in New York, it's full on. It's full on here. And I want to go home to my parents so badly. I need it. But I want to be able to come back. And I'm scared that if I take one of these tests and I come back and it's a false positive, and then I have to quarantine, and then everything falls apart again. And that's really how we're living in New York, because he refused to work with Trump. So he made up all his own rules. And this list that he makes, if you travel to or from New York out of the airports, is his. And I just really don't want to be on Cuomo's list.
But is there a way, Mel, is there a way you can like drive out somewhere and fly from different state, or like take a train and fly from different state?
Yeah, I got to figure that out this week. I was talking to my mom today. It's like, I don't mind that. I do need to get out of New York, because it's getting, the energy here is really, really crazy, and it's getting to me, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that's a good idea. My sister told me to do that, to drive and then fly. But yeah, I don't want to be on Governor Cuomo's list. I just don't. I'm not willing to. I don't trust the tests that he's giving, and he's the way that he's treating restaurants and small businesses as criminals. And if he says that you tested positive, it doesn't really matter if you have it or not, or have symptoms or not. And he is a rogue. He's not sharing his data with the rest of the country, and he's not cooperating with the federal rules. He made up his own rules. And that's why I feel like I've been stuck in New York, because I don't want to not be able to come back, and I don't want to come back and have to quarantine for 14 days.
But
I have to figure it out.
I was just thinking, is it the same like if people fly and let's say New York is not final destination, but they are changing the planes in New York, and I just wonder if this is the same.
No, I don't think so. I don't see how they could do it, but I fly a certain airline that has its own terminal. So I know that, but I mean, the truth is, I don't want to be on this guy's list. I don't trust him. I think that he's been a travesty. Half of New York, though, thinks he's some kind of hero, and I don't trust him at all, let alone de Blasio.
Right, but Mel,
I just don't want to be a prisoner in New York, and I don't want a false positive to, end my life.
But listen, he just wasn't it? He just admitted that the older people,
data from the
right? No, but the older people that they were transferred to those nursing homes, and then they died because of this C word situation. So so now what's gonna happen with this now if he admitted? Like, what is the legal procedure?
He's not gonna admit it. There's gonna be a whole drama. He's gonna do, nothing has been his fault, even though Trump gave all the states their own ability to handle this the way they saw fit. But yeah, no, his I guess right-hand woman let the cat out of the bag that they were hiding the data from the federal government because they didn't want to get investigated. But anyway, Trump sent those boats. He had Javits Center built in 3 days. There was plenty of room. Then you find out that a hospital with Medicaid or Medicare gets $39,000 per COVID death. And then you find out that the nursing homes that he released the patients to that had COVID to infect the elderly were owned by one of his biggest donors. So it's a really ugly mess. And I that's why I've been like, I have to figure out a way out.
You need to get out of this energy, and it will help you so much.
I know it will.
Much.
Well, thank you so much for having me again. Every week I come here. It's like my therapy. I love you so much. Thanks for calling it out. And for anyone out there that's not taking care of themselves, believe me, not only am I, when we're done right here, I'm going to actually go download my my Hertz music again on my iPhone. But I'm really grateful, and everyone should take the advice, because good friends are hard to find, and I found a great one in you. Thank you so much. You were such a good friend.
I cannot wait to meet you in person.
I know, we're gonna hug for like 2 days. So thank you so much. You really make a difference every time, and I love you. And I will see you next week.
And don't worry, everything is fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
I know. And if it's not, I'm gonna just come live in your closet and hide with you.
Oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.